Hey, let me get this thing knocked down. Oh, it's the game. Let me get this game knocked down. Oh my goodness, EA Maniac makes games so stinking loud. I don't understand why their game's so loud. What's up, everybody? Happy Monday. Welcome to Press Pass Live. I am your commish, the host, the founder of Grown Folks and the OMFL, the world's oldest and longest online CFM in the world. And with me right here to my left and my bottom, depending on which stream that you're watching here, Mr. Maniac, the founder and the commish of the Deuce, which is now a dynasty. So if you're looking for an NCAA dynasty or a Madden League or both or shooters, Grown Folks is the place for you. As long as you're over 18, you're looking for other adults to come hang out with. Maniac, I've got it all out of my system. How you doing tonight, bud?
I'm doing great, man. Yeah, it's exciting times, man. Exciting times. OMFL is getting ready to rock and roll again.
It's something. I don't know how exciting it just is, but it's something. I am itching and ready to go. I am where you were just a couple of weeks ago as we were trying to get the NCAA leagues rocking and rolling. What's up, Bronco, man? What's up, Daniel? Good to see you guys. Thank you for hanging out with us for Press Pass Live. I'm glad that we are here, and I'm glad that we are rocking and rolling. Let me see if I can get that to stop. There we go. We are working on some new equipment, which seems to be working pretty well. I'm just sort of making sure I'm pressing the right buttons and hitting the right things. What's up, Big Hurt? Good to see you, my guy. our latest donating member. Actually, not our latest, because somebody came in right after that. Mr. Bill in New York, appreciate him. Man, I got to gather my thoughts. I have been in meetings literally all day, went straight from that to a quick workout, to a quick shower, straight to church, talked all night, straight to cleaning up, straight to watching a couple of episodes of Yellowstone with the wife, and then right here with y'all. Man, I just have not paused today at all, and I'm ready to talk some OMFL. Maniac, I know that you are not the biggest fan of Madden right now, but here we are right around the corner, hopefully, days away from being able to get started here. And let me go ahead and put it up on the screen. I wanted to talk a little All Madden versus All Pro. We played All Pro early in the test franchise, and then we moved over to All Madden. Been playing that for about a week or so, and then today we put it back on All Pro to test out a few things there. I've already started to get some feedback. It does seem like on All Pro, the defense is absolutely terrible. I mean, it ain't good on All Madden, but it's the worst on All Pro. So I just want to talk All Madden versus All Pro, pros and cons, and just sort of have a little bit of a discussion. I don't know. This might take us 2 minutes, might take us 20 minutes if I know both of us. All Madden, I'll get us started. Pro or con. I will start with the cons. Here's the pros. First, I think they both play pretty similar. I think we've said this sort of Madden after Madden after Madden, but I would say it even more this Madden. They feel very, very similar. There's some minor things, I think, and the more we play the game, the more we get comfortable, that chasm between All Madden and All Pro is going to grow, and we're going to see a bigger gap between the two. But as of today, they feel very similar. A pro for All Madden is the defense and the fluidity is better. A con, which is attached to that, is that all players sort of play the same. So the gap between a 99 overall and 90 overall and an 80 overall is much, much smaller than the gap on All Pro, where a 99 overall is going to play massively better than an 80 overall. They still play different and better. Just the gap is much, much smaller, in my opinion, on All Madden. Any pros and cons that come, knee-jerk reaction between the two?
Well, I know, just from past experience with All Madden, it's, we've talked about it before. All Madden was kind of like this mode created for all the competitive players because they, really would complain because the Madden itself wasn't competitive for them. So they created this mode to push the boundaries of their gaming experience, the pros, those guys that play a lot of competition, to help them prepare for Madden competitions and labbing and stuff. So that was kind of how All Madden was birthed, I believe, if I remember right, from going to EA. But All Madden does have some positives. It seems like it does help make the parity between players in leagues closer. I think,
which could be good and bad.
It helps. Go ahead.
I was just saying it could be good or bad, right? That could sort of go either way.
Oh, I thought you said, speaking of that.
Oh, no, my bad. No, I shouldn't have interrupted you. Just sometimes words blurt out of my throat, and I'm like, oh, I wish I should have shut up and let him keep talking. I just think that could be good or bad, right? Those players that close the gap, right? Here's how I would say it to add to what you were saying, or in addition to, the floor in Madden is higher, the ceiling is lower. All Pro, the floor and the ceiling are much, much further apart. And I think that could be good or bad, right? Because if everybody sort of plays the same, then the D-Moneys of the world, aren't completely light years over. I don't even know a team to pick on. Priest, we'll pick on my team. We'll just pick on my team. I was not a good player last man. The gap between my team and D-Money's team is much, much smaller, which sort of goes against what we believe here, letting a GM build a really good team to give them an advantage. It sort of closes that gap, makes that much, much smaller. Whereas in All Pro, that gap can be large. And you got a long way to kind of overcome. I don't know. I'm just sort of torn between the two.
Yeah, and you're right. I mean, that could be a pro or a con. I mean, depending on how you look at it. And I think another pro is it seems like sliders, when you get them to a point in all Madden, they kind of seem like okay, they work. You kind of feel like like okay, this slider, if you put it here, it's going to be this. You put it there, it's going to be that. All pro. Sometimes you can slide it, 10, 15 points one way, and it don't seem like it changes anything, or you can slide it one or two, and then it changes the whole concept of the game. So, I think there's like a pro and con to that as well. Um, but I think overall, looking at the modes themselves, for what we play as a league, I'm all pro compared to all Madden. Even though I'm willing to play on whatever. I mean, I don't want to just say, well, I'm not playing, because that's just stupid. I'm not going to be like that. And but I do think like all pro fits like what you're talking about. Like it allows guys to be a little bit more uh, able to build their teams and make their teams matter through being a GM or maybe just the simple fact that D Money, just for example, he's kind of run this place, either through winning championships or taking vacations and letting somebody else win one, every once in a while. It's kind of, he's kind of dictated some things and stuff, but I think that also in itself is kind of, parody or whatever. You look at it because it makes us the other guys that are below him, all 30 other 31 owners, try to achieve to get to that point, to compete with him and stuff, even though I personally have not even started to scratch the surface to compete with D-Money. But I just think like all pro gives a little bit more flexibility, I think, with the league through either sliders or through gameplay or through team build. You see a little bit more things inclusive into building the franchise or your team or whatever. So
Yeah, what's up, Nephi? I don't know if I'm saying that right. Maybe tell me how to say it properly in the chat. Good to see you. I don't disagree with anything you're saying. I think equally some of what you said, I also think makes the case for all Madden, right? Like here's my problems with all pro. Pro is that it does award the GM a bit better, the team builder a bit better. The con is that I think the players just are oblivious. I think the game is set up to score points and set up for the super casual. And though we may not be pro players, we're not super casual either. And so we need something in between all Madden and all pro, because I think they've dumbed down all pro, which also leads me to believe that they've dumbed down all Madden from maybe the original concept of how all Madden was created. We've bounced all around in the OMFL. We used to be only all pro, then we were only all Madden. We've sort of bounced between the two the last couple of cycles. And part of me makes the case of on all pro, there's almost no chance to compete with the Bronco Mans, with the D Waynes, with the D Moneys, because you have to build such a better team than them, and you're just not going to, because those guys are also great GMs. And so you're just never going to outgun them, and you never have a chance, because I just feel like the defense plays terrible. All pro, I feel like, for me, D Money said it, all pro Madden. Yes, that's what we need. I feel like it is a much funner, enjoyable experience. It is harder, but you and I talked about this in the off season. I want it to be harder to get started, because by the time we get to year 3, season 3, people have figured it out and it's much easier. And so if it's easy now, it's going to be crazy easy by season 3. We're all going to be pulling our hair out. And by the last season, we're going to go all Madden, just because we can't look at D-Money just blowing everybody out 42-3 in a championship game, right? If you look at the all Madden scores, they were all less than 5 points or 6 points or 7 points. Like, they were all really low scores. I get it. It's test. No one's taking it crazy serious. No one's like crazy competing, but it still shows that the games are sort of even. Running's hard on All Madden, a little harder than All Pro, and I kind of like that, especially with the new running system. So I think ultimately none of us super care. Like none of us, I don't think anybody here would quit over settings. And we all sort of want the same thing, competitive gameplay that awards holistically. I don't love that word, but the holistic owner, the guy that can not only get stick skills or strategy, but also is a good team builder. I just believe to compete on the field, that's the best way to do it is to go All Madden. But it's on All Pro right now. Probably stay on All Pro for the week. I'm going to try to get a game in, maybe even tonight after Press Pass Live is over with. And so I'll get some more All-Pro games under my belt, get a better feel. The early feedback that I had from All-Pro today is not great. It's pretty low. Nephi, it is Nate. I don't know why I don't put my name on the screen. I put all the guest names on the screen, but my name is Nate. Good to meet you. Thanks for hanging out with us. Let's talk sliders. You and I have this passion, love, hate. I got such to a place with sliders last season. I said, no more. And Maniac, you tell me what to do. I'm loving, I say this like a brotherly argument, but I was tired of arguing with Maniac. Maniac, we've said this before, Maniac falls down deep, dark holes. He gets deep in the black, dark internet, finding Madden glitches and conspiracy theories and slider adjustments and all kinds of things. I think we were both driving each other slightly nuts. Nephi, I am old enough. We'll just leave it at that, my brother. So this Madden, I tried to do it last Madden, didn't do it because I am a sucker for Matt 10's slider set. And I love his work. I love the energy and effort he puts into it. But what I realized last season and what Maniac has been preaching for a while about the Matt 10 sliders is they're really for CPU games, like offline CPU games, just you and the computer. And if you want a fun experience, I strongly encourage you to use his sliders. But there are a lot of things about his sliders that just don't work for CFM, whether it's QB accuracy, whether it's length of game, whether it's injury slider. His is at 28. You can see ours right now was on 18, and people are screaming from the mountaintops it's too high, so I put it at 17. Ew. The concept is try to leave them alone. So I've posted the all Madden sliders. Those feel really good. If we go All Madden, that's what we're going with. This is the All Pro sliders. Really, everything is almost exactly the same as All Madden, except for quarterback accuracy is much lower. It's just wait. If we leave it at 50, y'all, like All Madden, I'm telling you, the 68 overall quarterbacks would be the same as a 98 overall quarterback, and we just can't have that. You gotta have a difference between the quarterbacks. So that one is different. It's at 35. After a lot of testing, that feels right on the mark. Everything else is the same as All Madden. The two slight bumps for defense, defensive coverage, defensive reaction. Those are just 5-point bumps. And then the three that we mainly always change, which is injury, which you just seen it live here on the show. I put it down to 17 because I was told 18 had too much, but I increased fatigue. Auto subs sort of hit and miss. And sometimes they're good, sometimes they're not. And you got to kind of manage your team. The problem that a lot of people are seeing now, just a heads up, is progressive fatigue, which we will be discussing as a board. Do we leave on? A lot of you are like, I start my game tired. It's because the CPU has been running the teams as we've simmed through the season. And so everybody's tired from progressive fatigue, not the fatigue slider. So ignore that. But I think 60 will give us fatigue, will lead to injuries if you don't sub people out. 17 will keep those injuries low and not like long term. The only other bumps I gave is lowered pass interference, defensive pass interference, which if you look at Matt 10 sliders, allows for DBs to play slightly tighter coverage. They'll follow the receivers a bit better, and then roughing the passers down, which means that defensive players, not just defensive linemen, mainly defensive linemen, but defensive players as a whole attack the quarterback a bit more instead of laying up and allowing the pass. I think this is going to be a good set to test on All Pro and see how it feels. Again, I did get one game of feedback. It was not good. The player who's a top player here was not very kind to All Pro, but it is what it is, and we got a week of testing. I've rambled a lot. Maniac, I know that you hate sliders, but you also enjoy, I think, punishing yourself and falling down really deep, dark holes to figure it out. So, I don't know, any thoughts around sliders, period? Even I did share, and then I promise I'm going to shut up. I did share Matt 10 sliders that dropped today. Here's the other issue with Matt 10 sliders. Number one, you can never talk to the guy. So I've reached out to him a bunch, trying to get him on the show, trying to pick his brain a little bit. He's just not available. And last year, he quit. He quit like 2 or 3 months in. So every time the game updates, you got to go get his updates, and his updates take a week after the update drops. So you play with it. You just chase your tail. That's what Maniac and I end up doing. We stay up till 2 o'clock in the morning. Let's try this. Okay, we played a half. Let's tweak this. Okay, let's tweak this. Let's find the ceiling. Let's find the floor. Let's set it on the. It's just, I'm telling y'all, it is madness the amount of hours we've both done, and he's done twice as much as me on his own.
Yeah, those sliders, man, will literally drive you insane. And just about the time you think like, oh, I've got something figured out, and next thing you know, why is it not working? What's going on? Because all of a sudden, like you said, I go down the deep rabbit hole in the dark web, and I find out, well, this slider and this slider is connected. So you have to adjust this slider to make this slider work, because if you don't, then this slider's not gonna. And so it's stupid. It really is stupid how they have it. I mean, it should be just like, if I want my pass coverage to play better, even if I'm playing on pro, it should be like, if you scoot it all the way over to 99, it should play really, really better for that particular setting. But
yeah, it doesn't work that way.
I just don't. Yeah, I just don't understand why it doesn't. But it is what it is, and that's what we got to work with. Now, I actually played D Money today and Big Hurt on the current sliders. D Money's game was interesting. I will say, I did actually score a few points, I think, in the final quarter, but I think he was just kind of like playing with like a cat playing with a mouse, just kind of like rolling around like, oh, he scored, but I think, in some ways it felt good, in some areas it didn't. I played a game with Big Hurt. There wasn't actually any openings in the test franchise, so he created one using the sliders that you had, and we played one, the Falcons, and I don't even remember the other team, but anyway, we ended up going only 17-7 that game, and we threw a lot of picks in that game, so I don't know what we did wrong on that one, but I've played the All-Pro on the sliders. I thought played pretty well. Rushing for me, I don't know. I've had so much problems trying to figure out the rushing attack now. Not just to call on college football. I figured out the running game in college football, but I can't figure it out in Madden. So it's just kind of odd. I figured it would actually help me with the Madden game, but it has been totally opposite of that. I can't get the running game going. So, but thing it is, guys, we've got to be patient with the sliders. You can't expect things to be just absolutely perfect. Sometimes we just got to buck it up and adjust to how the game plays, and if that means, my quarterback is a 68 and I can't throw past 20 yards down the field, boy, you better figure out some plays, some curl routes, some drag routes, some slant routes, some short routes to just minimize your quarterback's inaccuracies, and then try to build him up, because it's just that's what the NFL does. NFL coaches do. They have to adjust. Certain teams play certain things different ways. So anyway, I try not to get like too big on the spill on the sliders, but man, I've been there with you on that slider train, and it is a dark, lonely place, man.
It's The Madden dark deep hole goes deeper and darker than any of you can ever imagine. And as much as I love this guy here, this guy can get dark with the best of them. Okay. I would also say, Nephi, no, not really at all. So I would also say that college didn't start that way. So, geez, do I want to say what I was about to say? Because I love this fella here, but we both soft as fresh baked bread sometimes. I hate the college sliders. I feel like the running is literally impossible unless you're playing the CPU and you just like cheese a bunch of plays that actually work. But I've got the best O-line in college football, arguably on paper, and they're getting block shed instantly by like FBS teams. And so I feel like what has happened is that I don't play college as much as you do. I play more Madden than you do. And so one's easier for you and one's easier for me. And I think just the more that people play, the better that it'll sort of get for everybody. And we just got to give it some time to get there. But look, lots of things to discuss. We are trying very hard this Madden. Here's the other thing I know Maniac will agree with me on, and that is when I mess with the sliders, and you all know it, you immediately, when you have a bad game, you blame me and the sliders, or you blame the board and the sliders. It, like, without a doubt, hands down, happens every time. So if I don't hardly touch them, then guess what? You got to blame EA, and you can't blame me. And that kind of would be nice because I do enough stuff to get blamed around here. I don't want to be blamed for sliders. And so that is where we are. 3 quick things to discuss when rule changes. Man, we're scraping the bottom. I know you do, Nephi. We are scraping the bottom of the barrel here trying to find things to talk about on Press Pass Live as we get going. We are hoping that the update either gives us a date by this week or drops this week. So I'm thinking late this week, even though Bill has sort of talked me into it, it'll probably come out early next week. But here soon, it's going to go. And when it drops, we are ready to go. We have guys on the board. D-Money is a freaking robot. We will have that roster ready within 3 days, and we will be up and running. We'll play the preseason to let everybody test the sliders, get used to playing the game, because none of you are playing this game right now, including the board, and we'll get there. 92, is that? I don't know that I believe that, Nephi. Anyway, so we will get. You have to see the chat. He's in vertical chat right now. So if you didn't get to see that, what's up, Bill? I didn't see you, Billney. I don't know, why do I say Billney? It's Bill in New York. I don't know why I say Billney. Anyway, 3 quick things. Player position changes. I've been really trying for the last 2 cycles to think of ways to loosen up, but still hold on to the core, to evolve with the game. We have to constantly push ourselves, especially at our age, because it's real easy to be like, well, we've always done it this way, and so, by God, we got to keep doing it this way. And I just don't want to do that. I constantly want to evolve because, like it or not, the leagues in the community is going to keep getting younger, and we're going to keep getting older, and we need to evolve with the game and with the NFL. And so I did the same with player positions. I went through our position form, and I didn't change a ton, but I did change a few small tweaks to allow for you a little bit more flexibility and to allow you to take a chance on a player that maybe you wouldn't have chanced before, and maybe play them in a couple of different positions. And so that is there. We're discussing a couple of other player position changes, but basically if the form allows you to do it, you can permanently move them or sub them in formation wise, but they have to go through that form, or you cannot play them out of their natural position outside of what we normally allow, which is all O-line can play all O-line, all D-line, like blah, blah, blah. You know them, go read them. Basically trying to move away from some of the speed restrictions and kind of open it up a bit more. Play action restrictions look like they're going to be removed. We feel like the game plays it better. We feel like it just works better. It just, all of it just plays better, and we don't think the game is what it used to be, where on 3rd and 20, if you run a play action, your players are playing the run. We'll keep an eye on it, but we feel comfortable enough to remove the play action rule. No, Big Hurt, you only get it one time. And we're still discussing kickoff and punt rules. Maniac sort of twisted my arm, and I'm starting to sort of go his way a little bit, though I still worry what I said in the board chat that if we do away with all kickoff and punt rules, we'll never have a punt return ever in this league. But I do admit that it is hard right now. And so we're sort of discussing as a board, do we remove all rules? Do we keep most of the rules but remove the within the number rules? Or do we sort of remove the in the number rules and allow you to punt it out of bounds every time if you want to take that chance? So we'll see. Big Hurt, you're hilarious, brother. Nephi, yeah, unfortunately, all of our giveaways already passed. You kind of missed that part. But also, our giveaways are usually for community members because these brothers here in the OMFL are freaking, these dudes are crazy awesome. I almost said stupid, but I meant stupid in a good way. Like they blow my mind how much they give to this community to allow us to bless this community, and so the blessings go back to the community. Anything there that you want to scratch on, touch on, sniff on, player position changes, play action rules, or still discussing the kick and punt rules?
No, I think it's pretty cool that we're actually trying to get with the like I said, get with the times, because like you said, we're getting older, man. Like one of these days, grown folks are gonna be ran by our kids, or the equivalent of what our kids are now. So, I think like you're looking at those, like the position changes. I think that's great. I think that allows for a little bit of flexibility. Because sometimes it was really restrictive. Like, I mean, trying like. For instance, fullback is really kind of like a dying breed, but I mean, there is some like extremely athletic type guys that play fullback, and so like in a lot of cases previously, you were kind of like, I can't put that guy there because, he's 6'2", 240 pounds. He's like 85 speed, 86 acceleration, but he just misses by being too fast or whatever, and. But he's like too slow to be a running back. He's really kind of he doesn't catch the ball well enough to be a tight end. So he's kind of like I'm just gonna have to put him on the street, or just use him just in short yardage goal line or something. But again, this kind of gives you a role for that guy. You can make him the fullback. He can also be your power back in those short yardage situations. So you see that a lot in the NFL. The PA restrictions removed. I think that one is probably the most interesting one in my opinion. But as a coach, when you're playing, you're obviously not going to be waiting on a run if it's 3rd and 22. So if they run play action pass, more power to them. Because like if you're playing like somebody like D-Money or Dwayne, you run play action pass on 3rd and 22, and they got the dime package with the NASCAR package in or whatever, you're probably gonna be eating dirt. So that's just that. But also the kicking thing and stuff. I did twist your arm just a little bit, so I'm sorry if I hurt you. I mean, I didn't want to, but no, it's always a struggle for me with my internet. Some days my internet's great, and so I have a little bit more control. But there's other times where I'm trying to I don't want to punt it just straight down the middle of the field and give Dwayne and his 99 speed guy access to run right, run left, full options. I want to try to at least kind of directional kick it to a spot, and whenever I do that, the way that windshield wiper kick meter is, man, you'll be kicking it into the 3rd row of the 50-yard line pretty easily. So, but anyway, that's I need to shut up because I'm going to make the show like 3 hours
No,
long.
man, you haven't hardly said anything. I'm starting to worry like I need to call somebody. You haven't hardly talked at all. Yeah, I hear you, and yeah, I don't know what I'm trying to say. It's late. I would say sort of kicking to a guy that built a 99 speed punt returner should be like an option. Like you should have to defend that. I don't know. We'll see where we land. I also think the way we feel season 1 is not how we're going to feel season 3. You know, we'll get the timing down and we'll get it figured out. Maybe the occasional hiccup here and there. All right, let's talk Madden surprise team. Season 111. It's going to start here pretty soon. I'm ready to start. I think it's going to be a ton of fun when both Madden and college are rocking and rolling. So season 111, I want to talk surprise team. So I asked you to pick one AFC team, one NFC team. I'm going to let you decide which conference we start in, and I'm going to let you go first. So you pick the conference, you tell me the team, and tell me why they are your surprise team.
All right, so let's go with the AFC. And my surprise team is not really like a big surprise, but he'll probably say like, "What are you smoking?" But the Texans, I think, are going to be a very surprising team in the AFC. I know he's in a pretty tough division now, and he's got Black Hats over there. He's got Bronco Man, but his team is really like set up for big time success, even early on. But it's also young enough that he can build and sustain it through, I think, the entire Madden. And we've seen Roger have some of the most prolific offenses in the OMFL. I mean, he's competed with guys like D Money. He's put up points. He's competed with, he hasn't got the wins to show it, but he's very competitive, and he always seems to put up the points, put up the yards and stuff. And he has those guys up in the top, 5 to 10 players in positions, for the wide receivers and running backs and quarterbacks and different things, So I think the Texans are a kind of surprising team because they're young, they're built well. They've got a big rating boost since this last Madden to start off with, and I think that'll play dividends to help Roger maybe get his footing in the new Madden set up early on for success to carry on maybe through the entire Madden, because he does seem to get rolling a little bit as more as the Madden goes. And so if his team if he can maintain it and build upon what he's got even to the start, I think you're going to see the Texans maybe make some surprising some surprising wins throughout this Madden. So I think he's going to surprise some people.
I think that's a good pick. I think he always seems to be someone's pick every single Madden. He definitely has some athleticism, some speed, some serious playmakers on this team, especially at really key positions. I'm going to be interested to see exactly what he did with his imports. Of course, I'm not fully up to date with people's imports, but I think he could be a team if he's able to stay engaged, which health is always going to be sort of the uncontrollable thing that sort of moves his life around. If he can avoid that, and we're praying that he can, then I think he's going to be a force to be reckoned with, especially how this Madden plays. There's a ton of mailbag questions that we have to get to as well. We probably won't go through all of them because I think I need to save some for next show, because I don't know that we're going to be started by next show, but we'll see how many we can get through. My team is going to be the Jacksonville Jaguars. I can't see because we're both covering up this team selection here, but I think Byron is taking over a hell of a good team with Jacksonville. They have athleticism. They have playmakers. They have the quarterback. They have just about everything that you could ever want or ask for on this team. And looking through them, you can see Trevor Lawrence, even though He's a little bit lower rated than I expected, but he's got the big arm, at least decent arm. He's got the speed. He's also got the fat contract. He's got the speed with ETN right here at running back. And then his wide receivers, unbelievable. Gabe Davis, Christian Kirk, Brian Thomas Jr. I'm telling you right now, AFC, he is going to be a problem. I got to play one game as the Jaguars, and Brian Thomas had like 200 yards and 3 touchdowns. This guy is just, he's going to be a problem. He's going to be a problem. He's got plenty of speed with Ingram at tight end. He's got a pretty good offensive line, a lot of them in the 80s or high 70s. Mason Smith at defensive end, which is he's probably really a defensive tackle, even though he's only got 83 strength. He's got Eric Armstead over there. He's got another defensive tackle from LSU, Jordan Jefferson. I mean, this guy's got playmakers on top of playmakers. Look at this speed at linebacker, 88, 90, 88, 84, 88. I mean, he's just got speed on top of speed. His 2 starting cornerbacks, 92 speed, 93 speed. Oh, and they're 24, 23 years old, 23 years old, 24 years old. Oh my goodness. He just got youth and speed and athleticism. This whole team seems like they're under 27 years old. This is going to be a team that will be a problem for every single one of you in the AFC. Go ahead and get used to it because it's going to be a problem. Also, Big Hurt, I know that you're lying, but that still makes me laugh that you're like, what's cap mean? Anyway, I should have done my old man voice. I'm going to stick with the NFC this time, and then I'm going to give it for your NFC. I'm going to go ahead and stick with the guy that we were just talking about, your old team, the Atlanta Falcons, and Mr. Big Hurt. I think this team is set up exceptionally well for Madden. It is set up exceptionally well for the way that Big Hurt plays. He's going to be able to... He's going to have a little cap issue, so he's going to have to get rid of some guys. A lot of it will be Kirk Cousins. That's going to shed a lot of his issues that he's got cap-wise. He's got some other things he's going to have to figure out, though. Michael Penix Jr. is going to be a problem in Madden. I personally do not think he will be a good NFL player, but in Madden, he's going to be a bit of a problem. He's got arm. He's got speed. I only sort of slightly hope that you gotta maintain his injury issue here. At running back, we know what he's got in Bijan Robinson. That's going to be a problem for the entire NFC. These receivers, Madden-wise, are plenty good enough. Rondale Moore and Mooney both are going to add some speed elements in there. And Drake London, even though he's not fast, he just simply gets open. He's like a poor man's Mike Thomas in his heyday. Kyle Pitts is Kyle Pitts. Even though he can't catch a cold in real life, he's an absolute stud in Madden. Jake Matthews on this offensive line. The interior offensive line on the left side is going to, maybe be a slight concern. The center helps make up for it, and then the right side of that line makes up for it. Maybe he has to figure out something at tackle, but a 77 overall rookie, he's probably going to be just fine. Grady Jarrett, even at 31 years old, still going to be making problems for teams. David Onyemata, ex-Saint, still going to be making problems for teams even at 31. He's got some work to do on that defensive line because they're just getting a little bit older, but plenty of speed and athleticism and youth here at the offensive line. Plenty of good players at the cornerback position. Maybe needs to add some athleticism, but if I recall correctly, and he'll correct me because he's here in chat, he's probably bringing over a cornerback or two. And he's got some things to figure out here at safety, at least long-term at safety, and who's he going to pay or not. Season 1 out of the box, the Falcons are going to be making noise. They're going to make a push for the OMFL Bowl, number 111. He's going to be a problem, and that's my NFC team. Who's your NFC team?
My NFC team is going to be from the northern states, and we're going to be talking about Mr. Colin and the Bears. I've watched a couple of games he's played in testing. I think he's streamed a couple of games, so I watched him play a few, and he seems to have really good command of this Madden so far. And I know it's just like a test game, but sometimes you can tell. And I've been able to tell about certain guys before, like Nipple. A few Maddens ago, I kept telling the guys, Nipple, he's the real deal. And
it's a child in this chat, Maniac. Be careful with that nipple word.
But he ended up making it to the OMFL Bowl, and so so I just see Colin though. He's excited about Caleb Williams,
Yeah, he should be.
and yeah, I mean he's an 80 overall, or close to 80 overall rookie, and he's got everything you want. He's got speed. He's got arm strength. He's got ability to make every throw that there is in this game. And so, and then on top of that, he's got weapons. We all know Colin. He loves weapons, and I mean, he's got a doozy of I would say, like a quartet of wide receivers to start off with Keenan Allen, DJ Moore, Roma Duziez, and then Tyler Scott. Man, those four guys right there are going to be such a problem. And three of those guys are still pretty young. I mean, we got two rookies basically at 22 years old. And so, you see him building those guys up, and then he's going to have DJ Moore. But, man, all four of those guys on the field, he's going to be running some four wide receiver packages. And then he's got Cole Kmet, a tight end that can stretch the field as well. And then he's got a solid rushing attack, so he's got everything really that he needs. And I just see him really excelling this Madden. He's got a few areas that he's going to have to build. The offensive line is pretty nice, but there are a couple guys that might have to part ways with earlier. There's a couple of 27, 28-year-old guys, and so a lot of times those guys get up that age, they don't build any further. So, he may have to look to replace those guys. But, man, then the defense, you look at the defense, solid defense all around. He's got a good defensive line, but he'll probably have to address that early on, I think, in the drafts. He doesn't have a ton of speed at linebacker. And when you talk about speed, like 80 speed, 83 speed, but acceleration guys. But he's got plenty of athleticism there that he can work with that. And so it depends on like who he brings over with his import. I got a feeling he's probably going to bring a quarterback, maybe two cornerbacks, and some guys that'll help him. But man, that Bears team is looking legit for first couple seasons, just as they are out of the box.
It's an interesting team, man. He's got some work to do with that defense, though. We'll see exactly what he's able to do with that defense. Let's open up the mailbag, see how many of these we can get through. There's some long ones in here. Big Hurt talks so much he can't even help himself but leaving a paragraph question. We'll start with Kobe. With all the testing going around, what kind of play style do you think this Madden will complement a Ward throughout the cycle? What kind of play style do you think is going to complement an owner the best?
Man, that's kind of a tough question. But I think from the guys that have played, I think if you're able to be the type of owner that is patient, not just get too big of a hurry of like I gotta throw everything, make the big play, or I gotta do this, gotta do that. If you'll like really be patient with your play calling, I think it's going to reward you. I think those guys that are able to balance their passing attack with the rushing attack and be effective with each one, the guys like you see like D-Money and Dwayne, their ability to dominate comes from the fact that whatever they call against your defense, they're confident that they're going to be able to get 2 or 3 yards at least. And that's the reason why you see those guys, when they get to 4th and 2, if they're past the 50, they're going for it because they have full ultimate confidence that they can get 2 yards with whatever play call that they're going to call and that you can't stop it. So you see those guys like that. I think if you're able to be patient and work the game to favor you, I think it's going to go a long ways to helping you be successful this cycle.
I have literally nothing to add. I completely agree with you. I think the game is not that much different. If you're successful last cycle or the cycle before because you played good, consistent football, you didn't turn it over, and you were patient, you will be good this cycle. If you're looking, here's where the people that are going to struggle: people who play college football the way college football has to play and then tries to come play that way here in Madden. You're completely going to frustrate yourself. You're going to hate it, and you're going to struggle, and you're not going to win. You have to be patient. And then he asked, on top of that question, who do you think will take advantage of or excel at this play style the most? I think he's just trying to say, like, if that's the way you got to play to win, who's going to do it the best here? And I think the guys who've always done it the best. And whoever the draw or the tension will be the guys who play both games, who can play NCAA the way NCAA has to be played, and who can play Madden completely different the way it has to be played. Both lead to success when you don't turn the ball over and you play within the style of your team. Madden is a completely different game, plays completely different style, and I think those who've been good at Madden in the past will continue to be good even this cycle.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think you'll see, like you said, you'll see the D Waynes, D Money, all those guys, Bronco Man. They're going to move on. I think you will. Like see some of the guys, maybe like say for instance like a Kobe or a Denbrew that kind of had a down Madden. I think you're going to see those guys maybe have a resurgence, especially looking at Denbrew, because Denbrew was just like right on the cusp of like the whole Madden cycle. When he got to the playoffs and he just could never get past him and Little Koch seemed like they always matched up like early on in the wild card, and Little Koch was his stumbling block every time. It seemed like he got in the playoffs and stuff. But I think you're going to see guys like the Denbrews, like the Kobe's. I think they're going to have a resurgence in this Madden from playing like what we just talked about, playing with that style.
Denver said, outside of D Money, who else wins an OMFL Bowl this cycle? The guy who posed the question. I think Denver does.
Yeah. That's exactly what came to my mind as well.
If I had to pick another, I'd say Bronco Man.
Dean Wade didn't win one of this last cycle, so
nope, he didn't.
So I see him being successful and getting another one.
If you had to pick a dark horse, I know we picked surprise teams, but if you had to pick a complete dark horse, someone who hasn't won in the last 3 cycles, who would you pick?
Big Hurt.
Dang, that's who I would have said. I'll go Byron. I like Byron's team. That's both the teams I said that were my surprise teams, but I think Byron he made it last cycle with a team that isn't as good as this Jaguars team. I think Byron will go ahead and get him one. I also don't know why Bird put a question mark face. And that's weird, Bird. You're a weird dude sometimes. Randy, Mr. Bronco Man, said, what do you think is going to allow for more success this Madden, a dominant offense or shutdown defense? Man, I say shutdown defense, especially early in the cycle.
Yeah, I think whoever can figure out defense completely, because again, like I've said, like sometimes I feel like defense doesn't, like the zones don't cover where they're supposed to, and I think looking at X, Twitter, whatever it's called now, I think that is an issue that they know, and it's probably going to be addressed in the update. So, but whoever can really figure out defense to make it work for you, and to get pressure on the quarterback, I think those guys that get consistent pressure, able to make the opposing teams make the mistakes, I think that's going to go a long ways to making you successful.
Twinkie, what is your best feature nobody is talking about a few weeks in? Locomotion for me.
This one, it's the stem passing. I think it's very underrated. I don't think people use it enough. Yep. And I'm starting to really look at using it in certain situations because I'm like, it just makes total sense. But guys for the last Madden were able to adjust zones, back 30 yards or whatever, and we weren't able to adjust those routes, except for just to go to the sticks. Now we've got the ability to go, 10 yards past the sticks if we want to, or go 5 yards short of the sticks. Just whatever you feel like you can do, because again, in those situations like where guys, they make that adjustment. Well, I'm going to have my zones drop back 30 yards, and you start noticing that. Well, I'm like, okay, well, I'm going to run my route, my 20-yard route. I'm going to run it 10 yards, so
Yep.
get my 10 yards. So I think there's going to be a little bit more cat and mouse play there, and I think that's going to be an underrated thing that's not really talked about so far.
This will make sense, so just hang in there with me a little bit. And Big Hurt, yep, you're absolutely right. I see that now. Colin is bringing over a cornerback, a right end, and a left guard. Bill is bringing over... Where'd he go? Bill is bringing over... Thought I had it. I missed it. Where's Bill's? Bill's always the first to post everything. Let me find Bill's. Hold on. I thought it was right there, but clearly it was just Bill leaving mark. So Bill is bringing over a cornerback, a quarterback, and a cornerback. So 2 cornerbacks and a quarterback. The question is, press pass live. It was from Cincyberg, who has more wins in year 1. Bill getting his Giants, Colin getting the Bears. I'm taking Bill. I think he's got bringing over the quarterback. That's the biggest problem with the Giants. He's bringing over the 2 cornerbacks that are going to help him against Dwayne. Colin is in an easier division, but isn't bringing over enough defensive firepower. Those cornerbacks for the Bears are terrible, and that back 4 are terrible. I think that's going to come back to haunt Colin. I think what will help Colin make a deep run, or at least they run at the playoffs, is that he's in a weaker division. I think the Giants win more games.
I'm going to go with Colin just to be kind of different from you, because I think it really... And truly, honestly, I think both guys, they're kind of like neck and neck. But I do like the points that you made out about Bill's team versus Colin's. But we also don't know, Colin may come in with a plan to either trade for a couple quarterbacks, maybe guys that got on the market, or something like that. So that could be something that he's got up his sleeve coming in. But I think early on, the type of quarterback that he has, I think I give the nod to Colin, and also because of the division that he's in. I think he's going to ultimately win more games because of that division that he's in. So,
I am combining Twinkie's question with Penguin's question. Twinkie said, what's the best way to get out of cap trouble? I think the answer is in Penguin's question, who is everybody's day 1 cut? Whose is, I think it just means who is everybody's day 1 cut that they're looking forward to the most. Sorry, Penguins. I'm just trying to read these things and fill in the blanks. I get it. We're typing and we're fast and we're busy and things don't always make sense. Lots of owners with their favorite teams this cycle. It's always interesting to see who goes first from their team. Twinkie, to answer your question, is who is the most expensive player that is not in your future plans? Even if you think you can squeeze a year or 2 out of them, they're not in your long-term cycle plans. Who's making the most money? Cut that player the first. And then second, who are the aging players that you can sell high and buy low on here early in the cycle? Dump salary in the first season or 2, or a combination of both of those, to reap the benefits of the rest of the cycle. Because if it's tight in season 1, I hate to tell you, it's going to suck by season 3, much less trying to get through season 5 or 6 as we roll through there. For me, Penguins, it's easy. Derek Carr, like, he'll be my first cut. Next will be like a Cam Jordan. Mike Thomas, who's usually on that list. Alvin Kamara, luckily for me, hopefully doesn't sign a contract before we update. He's in the last year of his contract, so he'll walk. So it's just some of those aging players that, like, just Madden-wise, don't pay you any benefits to keep up. What about you with the Bills?
Yeah, so, I mean, I'm looking at it this way, like, the first year, obviously, I think opens up the possibility of more guys being able to make a run for a championship as compared to some of the latter years. And because, once D Money and D Wayne really get to rolling, it's kind of hard to get those guys off track. So you have to almost kind of like, that first season, you kind of make your push. And I think that's what a lot of guys will do. For me, for my team, I think looking at, I've got a couple of guys. My DBs are a couple of DBs that are old, but the biggest guy that's probably taking up the most salary is Von Miller, the edge guy. But I mean, truly, honestly, like there's no real reason for me to get rid of him the first season. But as if he's still under contract and he doesn't retire, because I think he's like 35 or something like that, so he's more than likely going to retire. But if he doesn't retire, then he's probably going to take a hit. Then that's when I'll look to dump his salary, get it off the boards. Hopefully use like an incentive so that way it makes it easier on me. So that way I can get him off the books and stuff. But I think unless you don't have those, and you're looking long term, then you have to make that choice. Like the first season, like I have to. Without a doubt, I have to cut it. I have to get him off the book so that way I can start looking to build future. If you don't have some of the community perks or in-game perks that you could possibly get awarded for activity within the league.
Taysom Hill would be my hardest that I want to hold on to, but hopefully equally, I hope he retires because he's a lot of money on my team. Big Hurt. As many game Big Hurt, I did not accept your first question because that's what we actually talked about on Press Pass Live. So we're not going to rehash that. As many games have been played, what are your initial thoughts? Offense or defense to be more important focus building your team for this cycle? We sort of talked about it a little bit. Here's the extra thing I would add on to that, and that is I'm interested to see how important or not important the two lines are, offensive line, defensive line. I felt like last Madden, it was weird. Defensive line felt like it just didn't matter. It didn't matter if you had superstar first round draft picks on that line, or if you had low-rated players. They sort of all played the same outside of X Factor. I felt like X Factor sort of separated the defensive line. Offensive line, I felt like you just sort of had to find the style of guys that worked for last Madden. So I don't know. It's just I feel like that's where football is still played. And I feel like that isn't fully represented in last year's Madden. I'm interested to see long-term, is it fully represented in this year's Madden? Nephi, take it easy, my friend.
Yeah, looking at that question, I'm thinking smart. The smart guy says, I'm going to build my front seven, my offensive line. I'm not saying that you're not smart if you do what I'm fixing to say, but in OMFL terms is like who can build the fastest offense and who can build the fastest defense will dictate if you're going to be successful or not. So that's there's a positive looking point to that, and then there's also a negative point to that. So anyway, making fun of it.
Take a breath on this one. Here we go. Big Hurt says, what is the plan from the board to combat the no switch and the juke move? I do like the juke move, but worried with no switch it may be a little too successful, especially guys who've mastered it like Bird. Oh, that's why he said it. Bird is a master of it. I will say, just in my opinion, that if we are on all Madden, I don't think it will be as big of an issue with no switch versus juke move. But if we are on all pro with no switch versus juke move, your thoughts or take. You won't like my take, Big Hurt. Good night, Nephi. It's short and sweet. It's nothing. We're a no switch league, and I was worried about that before playing Madden, but now that I've played Madden, I feel like it's fine. And you're right, it may become a problem. And if so, we'll have to look at it. But off the rough, nothing. I don't think we're going to do anything. And the Birds of the world will just drive us insane.
Yeah, I mean, that could go, either way. I've been, not just to totally disagree with everything you said, but Madden, I think, in a lot of these games, they have went. And it's just the way they make the games. Like they're getting worse I think from a standpoint of a no switch league, to the point like guys, we seem like we talk about it so much, like the players being so dumbed down. They don't play right. They don't do right. They don't seem to react to stuff. And I think it's just the way they build the games, because they build it with anticipation of most of the clientele that would buy the game would play it as a switch on, because hence we see the switch stick. That thing gets me in trouble so much, because I'm trying to make an adjustment, and I'm the middle linebacker, and then all of a sudden somebody hikes the ball, and then I'm like, I'm over controlling the cornerback, and then I'm like scrambling trying to figure out, like, oh, where am I at, and so I really hate it, but that's just kind of the way they build it, and I think it sucks. But
I cannot disagree with you. I don't think anybody in their right mind can disagree with you, and I don't think it's a disagreement. I just think that I still find that the game plays perfectly fine with the right settings, with no switch. And sure, there are a few little things that maybe become a little sort of muddy in that, but like, again, I've been playing a lot on all Madden here lately, and the game feels totally fine and feels great with no switch, and it's been some of the funnest games that I've played in a long time. Maybe it's because none of us care right now, and it's not super competitive, and people aren't trying to freaking hammer your teeth in. Like, I remember playing Bronco Man in last cycle in a preseason game, and he made me want to like burn my own house down and just sleep in it with it on fire. Like, I wanted to delete the game so bad. I was like, what is this guy's deal? Like, this isn't the Super Bowl, brother. We're like, it's just a preseason game, and you're freaking putting up 70 on me. Chill out a little bit. And so maybe it'll get like that this Madden cycle. I don't know. I know we'll adjust. And here's what has happened that I thought could have been a good thing, and early it is not a good thing. I think it's been a negative thing. And you and I have sort of, I don't have a word for it. I think we've danced around it. I'm already over the comparison of Madden and NCAA. And it's just like, if you don't want to play Madden, don't play Madden. Like, that's fine. Like, go play NCAA. And there may be some guys that go and do that. Just remember that I keep receipts and I cash them in usually. Like, it's nothing against you, but if you leave here in an unsavory way, you will not come back here. It's just the way I honor loyalty. Yeah. And I expect that if people play here, you either enjoy it or you keep your mouth shut or go find something else to do. Because it's just like the comparisons that I see in the chat just drive me nuts, because they cannot be compared. They're not even apples to oranges. They're bananas to hamburgers. They're totally, completely different. And they both have fun aspects to them, and they both have aspects that drive you kind of insane about them, but they're both different universes. They're not even remotely the same thing. I've said it 100 times. Everything outside of gameplay, in my perspective, is done at it is the franchise we all want. Everything about the college game, the music, the presentation, the recruiting, all the depth, all of it. Even though I will admit, now that I've learned how recruiting works, I feel like it's sort of just like a set it and forget it. It's not as deep. It's only surface deep. It's not as deep as they make it sound. But anyway, gameplay wise, the game is like it's junk food. It is just a 10-year-old can pick it up and play against a 70-year-old who's been playing the game forever. It is made to score lots of points, to have no defense, to have no real strategy, who can run the most trick plays, who can have the fastest players. That's what the game's built to be, in my opinion. It's supposed to just be a fun, arcadey, pick it up and go. Don't think about it. Don't worry about playbook. Just pick a playbook in a style that you like and go have fun. Madden is not that. Madden is more refined. Madden is slower because all the players are good and all the players' speed is the same. And so it's a bit more slower pace. It's a bit more, you got to play a bit more conservatively. You got to have a bit more strategy. But the depth of the franchise doesn't exist. It's empty. It's even now, even though they changed the UI, It's very surface level depth in the franchise. I don't care how many times the commissioner comes out to hand a jersey to a drafted player. It's surface level. So I think they're just totally different games. Enjoy both of them for what they offer. And if you don't enjoy one, just don't play anymore. It just is what it is. But don't bring it in chat because it just drives everybody down and it just sets off a negative vibe, and it's not helpful in either chat. Like, don't go college and complain that it ain't Madden. Don't do that to Maniac. Don't do that to any of the guys here. Birds League either. Just play them for what they are and have fun, or don't play one of the other things, because if you don't want to play, somebody else will take your spot. So enough of my high horse. And Bird, you do not get credit for a question smiley face. You know that you love the juke move more than anybody on this whole planet. One final thought, Maniac, and let's get out of here.
I'm ready to get rolling, man. Ready to see what them Bills have in store for the AFC East and what I can do with them. I'm excited to have a top-notch quarterback. I'm not really excited about his ticket that he brings along with him with that high-priced money bag that he's carrying, but that's just the nature of the game in real life now, so we have to deal with it somewhat in the OMFL. But I'm ready to get rolling and get to playing the guys again, setting up some games, and just get back in the swing of things.
Yep, I'm absolutely itching to get playing. Final thought is, just enjoy the games for what they are. You just listen to a 10-minute rant from me. This short show that we were scraping the bottom of the barrel, thankfully, because of y'all's questions, has went almost an hour and 20 minutes, which is absolutely crazy for me. I did not think we were going to go this long, but I appreciate all of your questions. I love the engagement. Finally today, I felt like the chat woke up, mailbag questions woke up. Things are waking up from their winter slumber, or I should say slumber that we have just been in. I'm just ready to play, so let's just go and enjoy these games for what they are. Maniac, thank you for making time for me on a Monday. I'm going to go see, I don't even know what time it is. Oh gosh, it's already 11 o'clock. I'm going to see if maybe I can get a quarter in or something, play a little all-pro and get a feel for it. But guys, thanks for tuning in. Monday nights, 9:30, right here on Grown Folks. You'll be tuning in. I'm ready to get back to doing some Madden. The college games are a ton of fun to stream, but I'm ready to get back to the Madden as well. And then we're going to be going and blowing. There'll be PUBG, Call of Duty, Off the Grid, Madden, college, just all of the games. If you're looking for it, we've got it here, and I appreciate you guys. Guys, remember, you matter to me. Take care of yourself. Take care of those around you. Know that you are loved and that you matter. I cannot wait to see you on the next one. Till then, peace.
Deuces.
Smash that like and subscribe.